I regularly ask potential coaching clients, what do you want? Sometimes they'll say something along the lines of, I'm too scared to say it out loud. What if it doesn't come true? When they finally share their secret desire with me, it sometimes includes walking the stage at their company convention. Then I'm able to let them know that I have a process to make that happen. I've used it myself and with many other leaders to get them into the top 10. I'm working to become more efficient, so I created a guide called 5 Ways to Get in the Top 10 so I could share it with them after the complimentary coaching session. Recently, I realized I didn't have to wait until someone booked a complimentary coaching session with me. I could share it with way more people if I just put it on my website and pointed more people to it. So, if you'd like to know the 5 steps to get into the top 10 at your company, go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com/top -10, and that's TEN spelled out. And I'll send you the guide so you can start the process.
Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jenny will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have with me Kayla Trautmann. Now, Kayla was introduced to me by a mutual friend of ours, someone on her team, and she let us know that, oh my gosh, you have to be on her show. And just from the pre-interview, I am ecstatic to bring Kayla to you guys because Kayla Trautmann is a wife, mom, and business owner who has been proudly building her business from home for over a decade now. And what started as a delicious accident, attending a party and deciding to join for the awesome business kit, has turned out to be a life-changing career and income for her. All of her accomplishments, income, and achievements, like incentive trips aside, her favorite part of the business has always been and continues to be helping others create even bigger success. Welcome to the show, Kayla.
Oh, thank you for having me. And thank you for the awesome introduction. And I'm so glad Irene introduced us. And yeah, I'm excited to be here today.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Irene. You're getting a shout out, girl, because Kayla and I had a fantastic pre-interview conversation. And I was like, okay, wait, we got to stop talking because we got to record this. This is too good. So Kayla, tell everybody, we got a little taste, and I use that word, pun intended.
I love it. I love how punny you're being. Perfect. Thank you.
We got a taste of your introduction into the direct sales and network marketing world. Can you give us a little more about how you got started and what made you decide to go down this road?
Yeah. So I should share that in college, when I was in college, I was invited to a home decor party, which is totally different than what I do now, what I've done for the last decade. But I dabbled in a business then, made some extra money for my wedding. I became a leader with that company, and I was only with them for about 18 months because little did I know, I thought in college I was going to go on and get this big girl job and have a career, and almost like I had an ego about I was too good for the industry, if that makes sense. Like it was fun. I dabbled in the basket. By the way, I love that company. I great experience. Made some real money. So I knew what was possible, but I went on to graduate from college, marry my husband, and get my big girl job. And I tell people all the time, it's so funny. I look back now and exactly what I didn't want my life to look like while I was an intern in college, going to school every day. And I'd look at people unhappy in their cubicles, doing the same job for 30 years, which no shame in that at all, if that's you. But I worked in a environment where these people didn't like their job. They dreaded Monday. They, waiting to see if their vacation slips would be approved. And then fast forward a few years, that's exactly the kind of career my college degree landed me. Like The only difference was I was managing those people. I walked in and was managing 3 departments of customer service reps and amazing people. This isn't, again, a diss in any way, but I noticed like I really felt different, if that makes sense. I just felt like that wasn't what God called me to do. Like I wasn't meant to go in every day, repeat the same actions. And I did feel for these people. I wanted their vacation slips to be approved. I wanted them to have quality of life over, especially when you're giving everything to a job and you're spending more time in the building than you are with your family. And so in 2014, kind of when I was feeling pretty empty in my career and my marriage was also not in a great spot. We'd been married 4 or 5 years at that point. I got invited to a food party. I went to someone's house to prep meals. Literally that simple. I wish the story was so much cooler in the beginning, but I think it's really cool for listeners to hear. It wasn't anything more special than, hey, Kayla, I saw you started working out at a gym. Would you and your husband be interested in coming and making some freezer meals? And I was like, yeah, he's actually working second shift that week. I'm going to be home alone anyway on Friday night. I'd love to come. And it literally, that was the start of my accidental business, I say, because I went to prep the meals and get out of the house and distract myself from kind of the place I was at in my life. And I'm sure many listeners can feel that. We all get to places in our life. And I just had a lot of fun. I just had a lot of fun that night. That is still something that stands out to me. I just had a lot of fun and fell in love with the concept of gluten-free, dairy-free if you need that. I was eating very paleo at the time. It was just a great fit. It was a great fit. It was a great solution for my life.
That is awesome. And so as you saw this opportunity, you're like, oh, this is fun. And there's an opportunity here. At what point, because my mentor who brought me into the business said, people in direct sales have 2 start dates: the day they buy their kit and the day they start the business, right? Because they get it, right? Based on your bio, I'm guessing you had a similar experience. You're like, kid, no, we got all the free stuff. And then at some point you went, wait, I can make money at this. I can do something else with this. Were those 2 separate points in time for you?
Yes, because, and this is something too, I think people probably assume when you see somebody in the tops of a company or with a decade-long career, you think, well, they just either came in with this big network or they just always built. And I knew I could make money here because, again, a couple years prior, I had seen money in the industry and in party plan, and I believed in it, but I did not join for that in this season. I really thought this is fun. I could see myself on my husband's fly at night. That was part of our marital struggles. We were 2 ships, in the night. We never really were home together. There was just a lot. And when I called him that night after the food party and I shared, it's $49 to join. Should I do it? And he said, yeah, this could be something just for you. Something to do to keep you busy. And the discount, it really was. I joke now. I'm always the one that says no one joins just for the discount. But you really do sometimes just come in because you love the products. If I'm honest with myself, I wanted the community, I think. I wanted the fun that I had at that party that just stands out. But discount's an easy way to say that. So that's why I always say no one joins just for the discount. I think a lot of us in life are looking for something maybe more in some form. It doesn't always have to be money or success, but something.
Right.
It only took, so that was the first date I joined, right? March 23rd. But
so your anniversary is tomorrow based on when we're recording this.
Yes, literally. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I love it.
So, the March 23rd. And I remember it because it was just, it's become, obviously, it changed my life. And we're going to get to that. But I joined for the discount, joined for the products, joined that day. It actually only was about 6 weeks later, just at the end of April or into early May, when I realized, wow, this is going to be fun. This is going to be something for us. It's going to actually help us in our marriage, part of our struggle. And again, I'm sharing this now with my husband's permission. We are still married. Cliffhanger. We're still married today. 15 years we just celebrated.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. We're still married. And one of the things that I say about my direct sales career, my network marketing business, is it saved our marriage, because that money in the beginning that, again, I didn't come here for, but those hundreds of dollars per month that turned obviously to be much more than that in the future, it got rid of that financial stress, that argument point that we had in the early days. So it didn't take me long, because I was in such a desperate place in an area of my life, to see what $600 a month, that was the number that we set, could do for us. That number was life-changing to my marriage and just to our finances. And it took pressure off of us to be able to breathe and just do the things that we needed to do to work on our relationship. So I have 2 dates, but they're not as far apart as some people. I sometimes hear stories of, I joined in 2012 and it was in 2015. I was sitting at a conference. Mine was a deposit in my bank account. I remember sitting at my full-time job that day, seeing a deposit from my direct sales company come in, my part-time gig come in. I was like, dang, $585. That's a lot of money. And I was like, this is going to be something. It was like, and that's when I changed my perspective and said, okay, I am here for the product. I'm going to be a product to the product. I love it. Still love it today, 10 years later, but I'm going to share it. And I'm going to share it intentionally and change lives because this is going to change our life. I remember saying that.
I love that story because anybody who's attended my powerful sponsoring mindset workshop has heard my story about that. Right. And frankly, if somebody has listened to all 250 something episodes, I think at some point I share that story in one of the episodes somewhere, at least once, probably twice, right? For me, where the realization was, this is not just about me anymore, right? It's the opportunity that, and who am I to hold this opportunity back from other people?
100%.
Right? Because of my fear, my anxiety, my thoughts of being judged, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And maybe because I was in such a desperate place in my marriage, like I had filed for a divorce, like we were getting a divorce. I think I didn't care what people thought of me. And maybe that's one of the best tips I can give people. That wasn't what I wrote in my notes, but maybe this is something here. I think when you either get to the place where you decide that it's more important to go help people, it's too precious of a gift to give, and you're not going to let like your ego or your fears or your hesitation or what people will think of you stand in the way, that's when change happens. And for me, I wonder if it was so early and it's been really not an issue of like caring what people think because I was so desperate. I was in such a desperate place that I already just didn't care. When you're going through a divorce, and if you've gone through this, you're already in a mindset of like, I'm not going to care what people think. I can't, because at the end of the day, if this doesn't work and we're not happy, we can't stay together the rest of our lives. We are young. We have a lot of years ahead of us. So I think it was maybe already in that place. And that's why that click happened so quick of like, I'm just going to share it with everyone. And I don't care because the current state isn't any better. And so maybe someone needs to hear that. Like there is probably a big piece to, I had already decided that what other people's opinions, meant to me was zero. There was no way in of what someone was going to think of my little food business that I had started. I've stuck this quote on my wall many times. I have it here in my office now at my lake home. But it just says, the value of someone else's opinion is what you give it. And I give it zero. And that's what it says in my office. And it's not that I don't love people. It's just that your opinions don't pay my bills. And I think that if you can find that confidence early on in yourself, you'll go out and share something you love because you love it and because you want other people to see it. And for me, it was, if I can do that, if I can change lives with this and it changes where we're at, oh my gosh, game changer.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And to go along with that, if you've ever heard the Eleanor Roosevelt quote, you can't make, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact words, but no one else can make you feel less than without your permission.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So those are very similar ways of getting to the same idea. So some people may have heard the Eleanor Roosevelt quote and but heard your version of other people's opinions only have the value that you give it. That's a big thing, people. Like, I think what holds some people back in this industry, or not just some people, but a lot of people in this industry, what holds them back is the fear of judgment, of what people will think. And it's like, ultimately, 99 times out of 100, the people who are going to judge you for it aren't the people who are going to buy your stuff anyway.
100%.
Why do you give a shit? I mean, honestly.
Literally.
I mean, come on. They're not the ones who are going to buy your product anyway. What matters is finding the people who are going to love it, who need it, because especially given your product line, the gluten-free aspect is so huge for so many people now, even for moms in families where maybe mom doesn't have an issue with gluten, but her kids do. right?
And so we have a quote that we really have embodied in our team. And I heard this somewhere at a training, I think like 8 or 9 years ago, almost at the beginning of my career, but it was when your heart's on service, no need to be nervous. And I think that is stuck with our, like, it's what we embody as a team, because I do think you're right. When you love your products, no matter what you sell or what you're thinking about selling, if you're listening to this podcast, when you just love it and you believe in it. So if you don't, that's a core issue that you have to work on, like different podcasts, find one of our other podcasts. But if you do, then you have literally no reason to overthink sharing with anyone, whether that's someone you run into at the grocery store or whether that's a mom in the pickup line at school. When I love what I do and I know the products do what we say they do, why would I ever be nervous about that? That is a service-based focus. I love it, so I share it. So, when your heart's, focused on service, or when you're being of a servant place, there is no reason to be nervous. And that's just something we talk about over and over again.
Exactly. Do what's best for the person sitting across from you, whether it's on Zoom, a Facebook Messenger thread, or coffee table when you're out at an actual party. Do what's best for them, whatever that is. Because, if you're finding out that, this is not the thing for them, that, okay, cool. Don't try and push it on them, right?
Yeah. I just move on. I'm like, cool. I just didn't know. I'd seen a comment on Facebook that you had talked about gluten-free, and I didn't know if you guys were. And if you do know of someone gluten-free, I'd love to be connected, because our product line, I don't know if you know this, is 100% gluten-free. We're safe. We're triple tested. I help a lot of celiac clients. And a lot of times they'll come back and say, gosh, it's great to know. Actually, my mom has been celiac for 10 years and she would totally be into this. You just never know where an awesome conversation takes you. And I think the successful network marketer sees that it's a conversation. If they're not into it, they're not into it. But what if they are? What if they are somebody who could be blessed? So all of the, I don't know, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be spammy. That's not even a part of my vocabulary. If I could give your listeners just a tip, I just don't even let myself think, why would somebody be bothered by somebody offering a possible solution? That is no different to me than if I love coffee, and I love coffee. And if you reach out to me and you say, hey, did you see Starbucks has a brand new matcha, whatever, I'm not offended by that. I might say, oh, I don't do matcha. It's gross. It tastes like a salad in a cup, and I'm not into that. Or I might say, oh my gosh, I love matcha. Like, nobody's like overthinking it and going, oh, I'm never going to listen to her podcast again because she suggested that I go get a coffee. Like, that is how silly it sounds when you overthink, not just saying, hey, I saw this picture and I realized it looks like you use this product. Are you looking for, an alternative? Or you just never know what it is. I'm making it up on the fly, obviously, but I don't overthink offering somebody a service if I can be of service to someone. And then it's their choice what they say.
Yeah. Anytime I'm working with somebody, and it usually, or even if I'm just doing a complimentary coaching session with somebody, right? It's their first time they've ever worked with me. And we get to that point where they're like, well, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be naggy. I'm like, so don't.
Right.
Like, you get to choose how you show up. So don't be pushy. Don't be naggy. But the problem is that they don't know what the alternative is. And it's exactly what you are saying, which is, so show up with service. I just want to help you. If this is for you, yay. If it's not for you, it's cool too. We can still be friends, right?
Right.
It's the, I don't want, because a lot of people focus on what they don't want in life, but they rarely then put out the alternative of, okay, so what do I want? What would that look like? How could I achieve the thing without doing this, without looking pushy, naggy, whatever, feeling gross in their sales, right? Those are all the things they don't want. So how can you show up? And it's the servant-led conversation. And it's so funny we're having this conversation because literally yesterday I interviewed somebody named Oliver Wolf, like the animal. Okay.
Yep.
So you guys, you're probably going to be hearing Oliver's episode around the same time as Kayla's episode. So I don't know if his is coming out first or his is coming out later, but listen to both of these episodes because he's talking about conscious sale. So and the difference between relationship selling, which is what a lot of people have been talking about for the last 10, 15 years in the world of sales, and moving from relationship selling to conscious sales, because the downside of relationship selling is people focus on the relationship and then they don't know how to convert to the sale. They're like,
I just had these conversations yesterday. Someone messaged me in my team and was like, hey, I'm having these great conversations, but like, it's not netting anything that actually counts in our business, right? And I was like, oh boy, okay, yeah, like, and she's doing a great job of building relationships, like you said.
Right.
So now we need to talk about, well, what to do next. So that's
how
so
do you
great.
transition? Yeah, how do you transition from the relationship and rapport building piece? Because the big issue there is then people go, well, now they've become my friend and I don't know how to sell my friend. But when you're doing conscious sales, which is what you are talking about in using different language, when you are coming from that place of service and saying, hey, I've noticed this about you. And when you know the right questions to ask, when you know
100%
how to move that conversation forward, that then, because let's be honest, your bestest best friend in the whole wide world, she's the person or he's the person who probably calls you out on your stuff. Am I right?
Yep.
So conscious salespeople have built enough rapport, have built enough relationship to now be able to say, well, you said you wanted this. This can be the solution to that problem. May I ask why you're not moving forward with this? Right?
Yep.
Like, it's for some people that can feel very uncomfortable. But when you start to think of it as, well, my best friend would do that for me.
100%.
Right? She's the one who's going to say, girl, that dress does not work on you.
Yes. A question that I love, if you listeners want my favorite question, and I think you're right, I guess subconsciously I do this in every conversation, in every relationship I have. And if we get to the point where I felt like we've made some progress, and that could be in business, this could be in anything. Yeah. And I don't feel like they're going to take the step that's needed next to book the trip they were saying they want to go on, or to make the change in their business, or to have a conversation with their husband. I'll say, okay, but what's stopping you? I literally say that and wait, because that typically on the other side of that question is something possibly that's actually holding them back, or them taking the action is on the other side of that question. And so in business, if you're listening to this and you're having a conversation about a product, like you were just using a great example, we've talked about this goal that you have. I think this product pack or this product could solve it. They're not clicking the link. They're not doing the thing. A couple days later, I'll say, okay, Sally, I wanted to circle back. Just curious, what's stopping you?
Right.
And I just wait. I can't tell you guys the level of like, you're right, nothing. I have no idea. I'm doing it right now. The number of times that happens, or honestly, like we had an emergency come up and I'm a little short on the funds now. And then you can brainstorm a plan, or you can problem solve together. There's always an answer. But I think if you're not good at that skill, you're right. You built this relationship and now you don't know what to say to them because that feels uncomfortable. But when I don't look at it like, if I don't know that their washing machine broke, I don't go to like worst case scenario. Oh, I bet their washing machine broke and they can't afford to buy the product pack that's going to help them hit their goals. No, I go and I ask, what's stopping you? I want to help you. And I think maybe that's, a bigger tip here is to follow up and to track amazing people that you're having conversations with, and people that you're having these like solid, let's find your problem and let's really come up with a solution that's going to work. And I think so many people drop that after a while, and probably, like you were saying, get too close to the what ifs because they've built a friendship. And I just think I always ask, what's stopping you or what's holding you back? Those are my two favorite phrases.
Oh, love it. And I think too, it's just the story people are telling themselves, right? The person 100%. In business, they're telling themselves a story instead of finding out what the actual thing is, right? So, oh, I offered the business and now they're not talking to me, so they must hate the fact that I offered the business. No, it could be that they had an emergency that they post on Facebook about because they're so dealing with that emergency. Their basement flooded. I'm sorry, they're not exactly getting on Facebook unless they're going right.
Or they're thinking about it. I think so many times we make up the stories. And when I circle back to someone and I say, hey, we talked about this yesterday, just wanted to follow up. Is anything stopping you from jumping in today? And I wait, I pause. This is the most important tip, though. Don't give them the answer to their question. Just let them talk. A lot of times I will get, actually nothing. I plan on joining today. Talked about it with my spouse last night and we're super excited. I'll be clicking on the link this afternoon. So many times. And I think it makes them feel, number one, special. Number two, like you're excited to work with them. And number three, like you're a professional. And maybe the more, as listeners, you listen, the more you practice that, it also just becomes second nature. I never doubt myself. If I'm genuinely checking in with someone, wanting to make sure I closed loop the process.
Yeah.
And if they decide it's not for them, cool, maybe I can learn something from that process. Maybe I could have done it better, or maybe it just ended up being bad timing and I'll come back in a month or two and we'll see if we can, change their life in whatever area at that point. But I think that is something that everyone needs to get comfortable with is asking the right questions and knowing how to, from the start, be a solution, really.
Right. Exactly. Oh my gosh. I feel like we could keep talking forever
I
here.
know.
So you did mention a couple of times about like bundle packs and dinner things and all of that. And one of the things that you have put out as a gift for the Badass Crew. So maybe they've never heard of your company. So
Yeah.
share the name of your company, what company you're with.
Yeah, I'm with Epicure, and it is an all-natural food company. We partner amazing meal solutions, dinner packets, as well as seasonings and blends. So think of a ranch dressing that you might be buying at the grocery store right now. We give you a mix where you can add your own milk, so your preference, of course, mayo if you choose, Greek yogurt, make your own ranch dressing at home as a much lower sodium, cleaner ingredient alternative. So we are 100% gluten-free, 100% peanut-free, and then mostly I probably can help 97% of allergens or dietary needs. There's always something that sometimes just isn't, really, really specific. But we have, we fully disclose our ingredients, and then we partner that with time-saving cookware. And what we mean by that is we don't want to just throw products at you, you get them into your pantry, and then you don't know what to do with them. So if a listener is listening and says, oh, I hate to cook, or nobody ever showed me, we take our cookware and pair it with our awesome products to help you make dinner in under 20 minutes. That's what we do.
I love that. And so you have actually offered for the Badass Crew who is interested in the opportunity to try a 20-minute dinner bundle. If they reach out to you, they can get one for free on you, complimentary, to try it out and see if they enjoy that. And hey, why not test out if it's really 20 minutes or not, right? And that's not all. You're also offering a free ebook. Tell us about the ebook.
Yeah, so I hear a lot of times allergens is a big part of my customer base. But honestly, even more than that, maybe it's because I have an 8-year-old, so I'm in the season of motherhood. I hear more than not, I don't have the time, or I don't know how to make a meal, or anybody else go to Costco or Kroger and stock up on a ton of groceries, and then they sit in your fridge, right? You've got the greens kind of wilting and you don't know what to do. So my ebook is called You Can Make a Meal in Under 20 Minutes. And it's really focused on giving you a variety of different proteins and veggies in the recipes, so you can find some things to just try. So I think the listeners will love it. And it's just I really am in a season, as you probably can sense from talking to me, of empowering people, whether that's in building a business or in your kitchen. I just don't think dinner time, or that like 4 o'clock, what's for dinner, mom question, needs to be complicated. It can be really easy and still be healthy, still be good for you, but quick.
Oh, I love that. Okay. So if someone wants to take advantage of this wonderful offer that you have, that you are sharing right now, of the dinner bundle and or the ebook, how can they get a hold of you to get that?
Yeah, so I'm going to have all of my information listed, but I'm going to list my email, which is great. If you want to send me an email, I'm going to need your address, obviously, to ship something to you. But if you'd rather just the ebook, if you don't want to share an address, I can do that too via email or Facebook message or Instagram. So I'm going to share those handles so that you can get a hold of me. I'll share the direct link to my messenger. And then if you're interested in our products, you can actually click on my website direct. It's just my name, Kayla Trautmann, .epicure.com. So it's super easy.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, we have all of those links. The Badass Crew knows how this goes, which is all of those links are down in the show notes. But if this happens to be your very first time ever listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast, and you're like, wait, how do I do this? Where's the show notes? I want what Kayla is offering. All you have to do is grab your phone, as long as you're not driving, click on today's episode in your notifications, scroll underneath Kayla's picture, and you will see episode notes or show notes, depending on which podcast player you're utilizing. And you'll see in there, just click the little see more, because it's not going to show you all the things, because the show notes are extensive. They give you key takeaways, and we're going to give you all of her social links. So if you want to friend her, connect with her on LinkedIn or Insta or whatever. We're going to have all those links there for you so you can connect with her and then just reach out and, of course, send her an email. Subject line, heard you on Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast or BDSM Podcast. It's a little bit shorter and easier.
One of the links too, if you're somebody who's listening and you just need some recipes and help, I run a really cool recipe club with several thousand members in it that also share what they're doing with our products and how they're cooking. So that link will be there too. But I wanted to say that's just a free resource for everyone. I love that space because it's a really no judgment. You can ask a question about simple kitchen things. We share just cool hacks and we share a lot of recipes there too. So it's a really good solution for people.
Love it. Fantastic. So I'm going to wrap things up because I want people to take action. And so, Kayla, this has been an amazing conversation. I'm so glad that Irene, shout out number 2, girl.
Yeah.
Connected us. And so I really am looking forward to getting to know you better and continue this relationship because I feel like as we follow your journey through this, we're going to have you back to talk more about what you're learning on your journey through leadership, on your journey through this business. So thank you so much for being here and sharing the nuggets that you have now.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You are very welcome. And Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.